This is Planet Music.
From the makers of Planet Marzipan.
In a streaming world, we're proud to be a podcast that celebrates the art of the album.
Hello and welcome to Planet Music with me, Meza, and
Me, Craig.
Me, Mikey.
and
Migraine.
Gray.
You've got a migraine, have you?
Migraine.
Oh yes, you've heard the record. Oh no.
You've got a headache.
Oh, that's a way to start, isn't it?
It's a joke, folks. It's a joke.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's here for the next hour.
As you maybe
Is it going to last that long?
see from the title of this episode, we are here to discuss the second studio album by A Perfect Circle, 13th Step. Whose choice is this?
Ta-da! Great. Yeah.
Yep, Grey Tenix picked this one. There is a Wikipedia entry for this album. 13th Step is the second studio album by American rock band A Perfect Circle, released on the 16th of September 2003. The album sold well, charting at number 2 on the Billboard 200 in its premiere week, selling over 231,000 copies and staying on the charts for 78 weeks. The album went on to be certified gold on the 4th of November 2003 and as platinum on March the 24th, 2006. 3 singles were released from the album: Weak and Powerless, which topped the mainstream rock tracks and modern rock tracks, followed by The Outsider and Blue, which also charted on the respective charts. Craig, how old were you on the 16th of September 2003?
I was the ripe old age of 31.
Okay. When did you first hear this record, Craig?
About a week ago. Not even a week ago. What day are we on? Today's Tuesday, and we picked this on Thursday last week. So
We did. Yeah. Mikey, when did you first hear it?
Friday gone.
Friday gone. Okay. And I first heard it today. So
hey,
the man what knows this record. Gray, what does this record mean to you and why have you picked it?
So 2003, I spent a lot of time working with Americans. So my musical tastes, not necessarily my taste, but the stuff I was listening to was influenced a lot of what was available in the American PX stores in places like Doha and Kandahar and places far flung from Europe.
ending in ha.
Yeah, anything that ended in ha. Hardy har har. And so it was things like sort of Three Doors Down, 12 Stones, the American sort of alt rock, indie rock type stuff. I hadn't heard Merdanom. I hadn't heard the initial album from this. But when the single for this came out, I was like, oh, this is quite interesting. Watched the single and got slightly freaked out. Watched the video for it, got slightly freaked out. But it's a deep album, and I think there's certain aspects of it that deal with. I mean, we'll go into it. Obviously, it's the 13th Step. It's based around the 12 steps from Alcoholics Anonymous, and it deals with addiction in various ways. But it also deals, I think, with isolation and loneliness in a way in bits of it, and that really rang true at the time. There was being far flung and not having the support mechanisms that you were used to. But Maynard Keenan, for those of you who aren't aware, Maynard Keenan would be lead singer for Tool, lead singer for 13th Step, and lead singer for Pucifer, sort of, and all three are entirely different. The subject matter is different, the way he performs is different, but I am pretty obsessed with all three of them, to be honest with you. I've just seen 13th Step over in Tilburg, 2 weeks ago, which was brilliant because they played 6 songs from this, which was fucking stunning.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's why we're talking about it, folks. You got initial reactions to it, Craig? Before we go into detail?
It's not quite what I thought it would be, knowing no nothing particularly about the album, but knowing some of the artists like Tool and stuff like that, knowing a little bit of their stuff, but it's absolute marginal stuff. And it's not as heavy a sound as I was expecting it to be. You know, I was expecting it to be more like crunchy and akas, and I mean there are bits and bobs of it in there. You know what I'm like with the old
I love you
akas.
with your aka.
Yeah.
It makes me
But
think
no,
of milk, but yeah.
yeah, well,
milk.
it's more like aka milk than anything.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But no, it's surprised me. Yeah.
Mikey, what do you make of it on first few listens?
I can relate to a lot of this. And personal disclosure, my partner will have reached 9 years of sobriety this November, so hats off to him. So there was a lot of this hit me hard.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of what this album talks about firsthand. Now, the funny thing is, had I heard this at the age of 30 when it first came out, I wouldn't have got it. I wouldn't have it would have just passed me by, and I would have gone, what a load of noise, and don't get it, you know. But it's 52. It just rings differently, you know. I think, I mean, I don't know how old these guys when the album came out, but obviously being in being artists, they'll be surrounded by the themes that this album talks about. And I know there's they mentioned somebody from, was it Alice
in Chains.
Alice in Chains, yeah. So yeah, I've seen the damage that drugs and alcohol and other addictions can do to people, quite a lot of people that I've known in my life. And so yeah, it struck a chord, it really did.
Yeah. Wow. I've got a full disclosure this evening, guys. I've already told you this, but I'm going to say it on the pod as well. I haven't really given this the amount of plays I would like to have given it. I've only played it today, and my day, as we've just discussed, hasn't quite gone to plan, so I haven't played as much as I wanted to today. So I've just taken it on the way it sounds. I haven't had a chance to look into the lyrics or the meanings on the record, and this comes from a world that I don't really get, if I'm honest. Don't do Tool. I'm aware of them. Don't do any of that sort of Queens of the Stone Age or Marilyn Manson or anything like that. So a lot of these people on here, I don't know. I mean, I'm aware of Maynard Keynes, but and Josh Freese, obviously the drummer, I'm aware of from his time with the Foos. But yeah, this is completely alien to me, this record, if I'm honest. So it should be an interesting evening.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So just before we go in, as a singer and as somebody who writes material, I find Maynard Keenan really, really fascinating, because I've always had to write with a guitarist. Although I can play a little bit, I find it really hard to translate what I want into music. And the various bands I've been in, the sounds of the bands have been very, very different, because it's been a relationship with somebody. And if you look at Tool, Pucifer and A Perfect Circle, the guitarists and the main writers of the music have a huge influence. Although the subject matter is different, the sound is very different. I'll be interested. I mean, I'll eventually get around to adding each of the three bands in our talks, but it might take me a couple of years to get permission to do so. But it's really interesting hearing the different stuff.
I'll have a sick note when you pick the next one.
All right, okay.
Yeah, have a note from my mum or something.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. There are 12 tracks on the standard version of this record. The first track is The Package. Craig, I'm going to come to you first. Look at his face. He's smiling, folks. He's smiling.
Yeah, I was just trying to keep Pepper at bay here, because she's determined to rub her face in her dad. So it's got quite a quiet start, with a little bit of percussion and a quiet guitar riff to it, and it seems to it lulled me into a false sense of security because I thought, oh, I was expecting it a bit more raucous, like an angry start or something to the album, and it don't get it. It builds you up nicely. I love the percussion and just the way that it does build. I mean, you don't get like a big like metal style guitar riff till about 3 minutes in, and it's a 7 minute track. But
4 minutes 10. 4 minutes 10.
it's a 4 minutes
wakes you up.
10. It does wake you up.
Yeah.
But and it's something that I noticed as well. There's something that I'll let Michael delve into a bit more, but the vocals are quite placebo-esque in this
That's
song.
the only thing I've got to say about this album.
But the thing is that I find actually some of these vocals later on sound a little bit Stephen Wilson.
It does change across the record, doesn't it?
So he's got
different vocal stylings.
Yeah, he's got different vocal stylings, which I do think is interesting. Yeah, but I think it's a good opener for me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's 7 minutes 40. It's two completely different songs, really, kind of bolted together. I do get sort of Depeche vibes from the first half of it. The way that sort of the drums are really sort of thin, very thin sounding and skittering across the top of the bass. I mean, I'll say this before, Mikey, the bass playing on this record is phenomenal, and it's mixed very high into the mix. It does sound like Brian from Placebo a lot on this record, certainly on this track. And I struggle with the first half of the record because I couldn't get that out of my head, if I'm honest.
That's not a bad thing. I mean, do you like Placebo?
I've seen Placebo, so I'm supporting My Chemical Romance with that a few years ago. As Craig says, at 4 minutes 10, the whole song blows up into something completely different. Big metal riffs, incredible. At 5 minutes, there's an amazing instrumental section which goes on for about a minute. It's just fantastic, full sounding. The bass is high in the mix, brilliant. The guitar playing is very. This probably doesn't do it a service, but it reminds very much of The Edge. It's that sort of style. It's it's colours rather than riffs at times.
Yep.
But anyway, that's my take on it. Mikey, what do you think of the first track, The Package?
I love this. I think it's a wonderful album opener. What I will mention from the off before Graham does is that there was a Japanese edition of the album put out with a extended version of this song on it, which runs for 9 minutes 33. You can hear it on YouTube. It is available. It's got a very slightly extended beginning by only about 10 seconds, but the outro, which I absolutely love because it calls back to the intro, goes on from the 6 minute 25 mark all the way to 9 minutes 30. You've got 3 minutes of outro rather than a minute and a half. It is wonderful. It just gives the whole song just a bit more even balance between the start and the end, because I feel that the beginning's a bit top heavy on the album version because you've got that amazing loud section, if you like, and the outro just didn't feel long enough for me, and the 9 minute version plays out wonderfully. So if you can find it on YouTube, have a listen. It's wonderful. The start of this really surprised me because I thought the rhythm and the sort of like pluck guitars reminded me of something from the Hertz album that we covered. And my next kind of vibe was very industrial Depeche Mode. And then you get this following of very Cure style guitar riff going on. But like Craig, I was also not expecting, the first 4 minutes of the song to be quite as chilled as what it was. I was expecting a lot more bombast from the off. But I agree with you, that point at the 4 minutes 5 or 4 minutes 10 or whatever, where he does the give this to me part, wow. The guitar work that you mentioned, John, it's just that feedback and distortion thing going on. Like you say, it's textures rather than riffs, and it really lent itself really well to it. And that's was it the 4-minute 50 mark? There was like interlude.
Yeah,
Abs
the bass reminds me of Royal Blood. It's that sort of
Yes.
distorted big
Yeah.
bass sound.
I mean, like you say, John, the bass work, well, the rhythm section in total, the bass work and the drums for this album make it for me. I think that it's just off the charts. But I love the whole thing about the song, which was, you know, going somewhere to, score, pick up your drugs, I just want to get my package and then I'm going to be gone kind of thing. Um, Comfort is a mystery crawling out of my skin. Just give me what I came for, then I'm out the door again. Wonderful line. But it happens quite a lot through this album. He does these wonderful mantra style lyrics. The lie to get what I came for, lie to get just what I need, lie to get what I crave, and lie and smile to get what's mine. It's one of the fundamental bases of an addict is the lying and deceit. And it, it just, honestly, it just struck so many chords. And I was like, I've been there, I've seen it. Um, I just think it's nihilistic where it needs to be and melodic where it does as well. It's a beautiful marriage. A really powerful opener. It's not my favorite on the album, but it's right up there.
Okay. Great.
I've heard somebody liken it to Smeagol and his Precious, where he's really nice and he's trying to, it starts off where he's like really nice and trying to sort of smooth over people and be like, and then you've got that, that's where the soft guitar and you've got the rim shots with Josh Freese. And I mean, the way Josh Freese plays this album is just out of this world. There's a theme around the stuff that we listen to. A lot of it is that rhythm section driving everything forward, and this is no exception. But it's the way the song changes when it's like "Give It to Me," and he turns and if you ever watch any of the live videos, Maynard Keenan, he embodies the character he is singing. And in this, there's a song that he does with Tool called "Sober," and this is very similar to this as well. This kind of thing, and he rocks backwards and forwards, and it's that kind of addicted bit to behavior thing where he's like, and it's almost terrifying to watch because he's like so engrossed in the story he is telling, and you can hear that in the characters that he plays in the lyrics and the way he sings. I get the Edge reference because it's all that kind of he's not playing chords and melody, he's playing atmosphere and harmonies and all interacting with everything else that's going on. It's a really good, it was quite surprising when I first heard it because you say he's like, oh, hang on a minute, if you'd listen to it, it's not as heavy as you would think given the circles that they were they were likened to and what have you, until about 4 minutes 10, or I think it is, and then you go, oh, there we are, right, okay, they can do it when they need to. It's a brilliant opener. It's nowhere near my their favorite song on the album, nowhere near it, but it's a really good opener for me. And I think there's a guy that's broken down the 12 steps, and I've dealt with members of the family dealing with alcoholism and friends with addiction and what have you, so I know where Mikey's coming from. I've never looked at the 12 steps before today, actually. It's like the first step is admitting you're powerless and that your life becomes unmanageable because you have to get that next thing, and that's when the package is the reference to the material aspect of the addiction. You've got to get the thing that you need to do that. And that's this guy's the one that says, so if it's like Smeagol and his Precious, it's not a case of that he wants it, it's a case of needs it. and it's that nihilistic thing. You will destroy yourself and you'll destroy everybody to get what you need. Dark album, as I said in the homework post, deep dive on a deep album. So it's
Not a Saturday night record, is it?
no, it's not. I'm not sure
Okay.
what night it is actually.
Let's see if it perks up on the second track then. Oh no, it's called Weak and Powerless. Track 2. Craig.
Yes, this is the pop single. Oh no.
Is it? Of course it is. It's the hit.
Yeah, desperate and ravenous, weak and powerless. This is, I mean, there are so many drug references and everything crammed into the lyric of this song. And you know, just what Graham was saying about, you know, this is somebody who's knows what power this addiction has over them. And yeah, it's dark as. But thing is it's not musically, it's not as dark as I would have expected it. It's got no, it's not a lighter a light tint, like a lighter sound to it, but it's got a driving bass riff and stuff throughout it. I think I've watched the video for this, and it is dark as, because you've got the lead character in the video is essentially a naked girl with long blonde hair, and you see her stomach, and it's all just festering away, and the imagery all the way
story.
Oh yeah. The image, you know, the imagery in the video of insects and snakes and lizards and stuff like that. It's, you know, it's almost got almost a bit of like the ring vibe to it, with the with
Well, I
the
didn't
girl
watch that today then.
But no, it's this. To be fair, this is probably closer to what I expected the sound to be. But no, I think it's interesting song. I'd say we're dark as, but you know, happy, carry on the theme.
Okay. It kind of starts with this off-kilter drums and then American guitar sound. I don't think it's a patch on the first track. It's again, I've not looked into the lyrics on this, so please forgive me for that, but it's quite an ordinary sounding track. I'm surprised that this was a single.
The lead single as well.
Yeah. I mean, it must have been the first thing that they finished. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't stand up next to the first track for me. The first track's amazing. This is quite on one level, I think.
But it's got to be for radio still, because especially the way that radio in America was, you've got to hit the right.
This could be 10 or 12 different bands. It's not. Yeah, sorry. I mean, even Gray's nodding here. It's quite
generic, you think?
Yeah.
Until you listen to the lyrics.
Michael, Gay.
I personally think this is a really obvious single choice. Knowing what bands my other half listens to, he's very much of the sort of like My Chemical Romance and Jimmy Eats World, and he's that sort of like, you know, genre. So the stuff that I'm usually subjected to really isn't my bag, and this kind of falls into that remit. That being said, the thing that drew me in was the bass line again. And this was the one that I sneakily mentioned to Graham when I was having my first playthrough last Friday at work. It reminds me of Peter Hook. It's very sort of like hooky Joy Division, very early. The band name has passed me by.
New Order.
New Order. Dear me, shoot me now. Yeah, and it was that bass riff that I thought, yeah, I can kind of get this. It's punchy, it's short, it's not too heavy. But what I do love about this track, and I think it's the first one on the album where you get a lot of vocal harmonies on the go, and when those harmonics work, they work really, really well. I think the only problem for me with this track is at 3 minutes 15 is just a little short. But to me, it was written as a single. It's a very American thing to do. You know, it was only put out 6 weeks before the album, so I would imagine most of the album was ready at the same time. I think it was just, you know, at 3 minutes or its perfect radio length, it was going to get played. Love the video. I thought that was perfect. And my favorite line from the lyrics is, "The devil has my ear today. I'll never hear a word you say," which is, you know, again, it's another addiction trait, which is whatever they've got going on, doesn't matter. The world could be exploding. It's, you know, they're in the here and now. Don't care about what you've got going on. Like you say, when coming off the first track, it isn't a patch. But I do truly believe it was a very wise single choice for the first one.
I think just listening to you guys talking, you and Gray in particular, talking about this stuff, I think that's the disconnect I've got.
Yeah.
I don't know people who've had serious addictions, apart from my own bloody record collecting one, but I've not lived through that. And I think that's helping you guys to connect with the lyrics and the emotion in this record. And I think that's what's not helping me.
Yeah.
Sorry. Great.
No, I get it. So it is an obvious single for me as well, and it's very much, when you said the American guitar sound and all that kind of stuff, and that's exactly what it is. It's that kind of short, sharp. It doesn't reflect the album, but it would make you buy it. Do you know what I mean? In American, and we need to remember the time. I mean, if we look at around the time it was going out, I'm going to look at Josh Freese at the time, because he was the
Guns N' Roses to come to this, like, didn't he?
Yeah, well, but he left Guns N' Roses. But if you look at sort of 2001 to 2003, so that when it was being written, when it was being recorded, because and Josh had been in the album with the band since the beginning. But his sessions included Puddle of Mud, Rob Zombie, Three Doors Down, Avril Lavigne, The Offspring, Evanescence. He did Fallen. He was a drummer on Fallen for Evanescence when they re-recorded it. Do you know what I mean? So everything that was that kind of American music chart topping rock stuff that we didn't call metal or what have you, but the Americans called it hard rock and all that kind of stuff. That's what they did, and they were really good at designing something to hook you into the album, and that's what it done. But it falls into the album goes over a couple of themes, and it talks to you from the perspective of the person who's addicted, or it talks to you from the perspective of the drug, or it talks to you from the perspective of somebody who is watching a loved one or experiencing it through somebody else. This is the second. So the package and this are from the perspective of the person who is addicted. It's that cycle of addiction. They know that something's wrong. They know that they need the next fix. They know that it's wrong, but there's nothing they can do about it. And there's the lyric, someone feed the monkey while I dig in search of China, white as Dracula as I approach the bottom. So it's that kind of junky. They're not well, they're not healthy, but they know all they're interested in. You know, somebody get the monkey off my back, because I just need to get this sorted. When somebody's trying to help them, little angel, go away, come again some other day. The devil, it goes on to the devil has my ear today. I'm not going to hear a word you say. I think what I like about this is Maynard Keenan has not had an addiction problem. He doesn't do drugs. He's not been an alcoholic. He's talking about it from experiences with friends, family, people that he knew in other bands and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's really clever to be able to do it. I love the fact that there's no real guitar part in this. It sounds odd, given you say about the American guitar sound. Both the bass and the guitar for me are rhythmic and almost complementary to the drums. They're almost percussive the way they're played. I love the fact that the bass isn't a single note riff. It's like that played as almost chords or double stops. Really, really clever. Again, it was the song that dragged me into the album, but it's not my favorite.
Okay.
There's far better to come.
Michael, let's move on. Track 3 is The Noose, Craig.
I like this. And I was thinking, what does it remind me of? Because we're back to the Krieg remind me of, and the guitars and take the lyrics out completely, and the jangly kind of guitars are like 100% 1990s Duran Duran. Def Yep. Definitely. If you listen to some of the stuff in that, like on the wedding album and that, it's just it's there.
This and the next track, Craig,
Yeah.
is what I've got. 'Cause if you take that snapshot where they weren't really releasing stuff in the UK, so after the wedding album and Thank You,
Yeah.
they had Pop Trash and Middazaland,
Yeah.
and these two tracks that are coming up, I wrote, if Duran Duran was heavier, this is what they would sound.
Yeah, yeah.
So well done. Well done.
This is what I got from that. But I just like the imagery and the lyrics on this about, tug your halo down and essentially turning somebody's halo into a noose. And it's like, yeah. I watched a live version of this from June. That was up on YouTube, and and considering it's a very slow track until about 4 minutes in, when it picks up and builds to a bit of a crescendo on there. It works really, really well. But I think this is actually one of my favorite tracks on the album.
Okay. I think it starts off quite slight, almost as like a demo or a jam. And they kind of build it from there. It builds across that 4 minutes, doesn't it? It builds from something very slight into this really powerful thing at the end of it. Again, it still sounds like Brian to me.
So it's maybe, I actually had never thought of that.
Oh, I can't get it on the end. I'm listening to it now, and it still sounds like.
But it's maybe why I like it so much, because I love Placebo.
Yeah, but I don't know what he looks like, and I do know what Brian looks like, and in my head he's singing this.
Oh, he doesn't look anything like the lad
No, I
from
know he
the guy
doesn't,
from
but,
Placebo.
I don't know what he looks like, but he doesn't look like that. But yeah,
He looks more like Nosferatu, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. No, he looks he looks a bit like Uncle Fester, especially when he's got the eye makeup on.
Yeah.
But yeah. Back to the Addams Family.
Yeah, it's better than Weak and Powerless. It's more interesting. It builds, all leading up to the next track. But Mikey, what do you think of The Noose?
I'm going to second Craig. This was vying for my favorite track on the album. It's a 1-star. I'm not going to give it a 2-star, but it's definitely a 1-star track. I love, again, the bass work on this, but there's almost an incessant sound to the keys and the bass at the beginning. It's almost like, I don't know, incessant's the word for it. It's just a great start to it. And you've got these absolutely haunting synths and this kind of hollow drum sound to it. It only goes on for about 30 seconds, and I wish it was longer. I think a longer lead-in would have been, even more eerie and creepy. But what I loved about it, for the first minute and a half, it's almost like the song's being recorded in a different room.
That's what I mean. That's what it sounds like, a demo to me.
Yeah. It's like it's been sort of like lo-fi mixed.
Yeah.
And the 1 minute 50 is like your eyes have been opened. It's like somebody's, like, oh,
there's a really clear drum brought in on top of it.
Yeah,
it's way clearer than everything else.
It just snaps you awake. It is really, really exciting to hear. And that brightness, just like you said, John, it just lifts and builds. And at the 3.5 minute mark, it's just that lift of bass work and synths. It's just absolutely brilliant. And towards the end, you've got the two vocal lines caught like repeating sections from earlier on in the song. It's just been perfectly arranged. I really, really honed in on this song, and I wasn't quite sure whether it's necessarily somebody pulling somebody down about what they've done, or somebody telling the drug off for what they've done to that person, because you've got recall the deeds as if they're all someone else's atrocious stories, now you stand reborn before us all. It's like, oh, so you've got over your addiction, but look at the trail of destruction you've had left.
That's exactly
and it's like, how are you planning to go about making your amends to the dead? Is that directed at the drug? I'm not sure, but I just thought it was so cleverly written. So yeah, very, very nearly my favorite track on the album.
Great.
So on some days, this is head and shoulders my favorite track on the album. There's another track later on that vies for it, but there's so my take on this is it's a combination of somebody has beaten their addiction and they're now playing holier than thou, and that the person that's talking to them is doing exactly as you say. It's that kind of, well, hang on a minute, have you thought about what you did? Have you thought, you're not fixed, you might be fixed, but you're not right, you need to make things right. And I've had that conversation with someone, and when I went to see them a couple of weeks ago, this was the one song I wanted them to play, and they did. And I could have left the gig happy at that point. Seriously, it was just, I absolutely adore this song, and it's that counterpoint of not to pull your halo down. The two lyrical lines that they start off separately in the song, and then they come at that part at the end where they wrap around each other, and you've got that kind of where they just, and I'm doing all these actions and nobody can see my hands, but it kind of rolls in and it builds, and you can feel the tension that's created by the frustration. I think your comments about it being a demo or sounding like a demo. So Danny Lona plays on this. He plays the guitar on this. He played guitar with the band for a while, but don't think he recorded anything on any of the albums. He's helped a lot with production since. So he produces the albums and stuff and works in the studio with them. He's also one of the people, don't know any if you've got a hard copy of, probably not. No, you've only known it for a week. So it's dedicated to one of the Howardells, one of the Keenans, and one of the Lonas. So basically, Maynard's mum who died, Billy's dad who died, and Danny's dad. So even though Danny wasn't part of the band, they were a community, and it's dedicated to his dad. They didn't die from drug overdoses, as far as I'm aware, but it's dedicated to the three of them. And I think the song was an idea from Danny, the guitar part. So it might be the fact that it was something he'd sent in, or an idea that he had that was then built on, so it does have that kind of feel. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
But lyrically, it's so clever, and it's, again, Mikey, that the production of it, the arrangement of it, just it's entrancing. So clever, and live it's amazing.
Okay. Track 4, Craig, is Blue.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out, listening to this song musically. It continues a bit of the jangly Depeche Mode kind of stuff until it gets to like 2.5 minutes in, and there's some great guitar work in that in, and it just kicks in a bit more there. But lyrically, it's just dark as fuck. I mean, it's all about like, oh, denial. Oh, just turning blue. Oh, I'm being optimistic. Oh, there's no smoke without fire, and all the rest of it. Say, what the hell? It's just sit there and stare at you. Oh, yeah. It gives this song gives me the ick. It really does. The lyrics not just give me the musically. I think it's absolutely cracking musically, but lyrically, it's just like, no.
Okay. Yeah, it's a bit like Brian singing with The Cure for me. This very much The Cure, the intro. As I say, I've not really looked into the lyrics. I'm looking at them now. It's more, as Craig says, it's more of the same, really. Call an optimist, she's turning blue. Such a lovely colour for you. Such a perfect colour for your eyes. Call an optimist, she's turning blue. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. Mikey, help me out.
There's a section in the series of Breaking Bad where somebody's sort of like lying in an opium den, for want of a better expression, and you can see people sort of like fitting and, you know, tongue sticking out of the face, and people next to them are just like, what? And it's like, you know, they're so off the baps, as Craig would say, that they're either entranced by it or they don't understand what's happening. It's like they don't see it as death; they just see it as some experience. You know, it's some great trip. Oh, just turning blue. You know, it is as creepy and as dark as fuck. There's no two ways about it. That being said, there is a remix of the song called the Bird Shake remix. It is very Depeche Mode. So I suggest if you find this version of it a little bit too dark, go down that route because it's brilliant. This was the one that I thought that build towards the end with the guitars and the drums and the bass work. This was the one I thought was very sort of like mid-level Duran Duran. But you're right, John. The first thing I wrote down for the opening was it's Cure, it's Placebo. You know, I know one of the guys was vying for this to be the first single, and there was a bit of a set to about which one was going to be. One wanted Blue, and I think the other wanted I've got it written down, The Outsider.
Outsider.
So because they couldn't decide, they went with neither and went with, you know, the Weakness track instead. So yeah, it's I don't know where I sit with this one. This one was a difficult one for me to get into. But that being said, the bass work made it for me. There's a gorgeous bridge in the middle, just around about the 2-minute mark. But the outro for me was what made the song, and the outros where they exist, you've either got abrupt ends on this album or you've got really long outros which work really well, and they're usually quite atmospheric. It goes on for about 50 seconds, but right towards the end, I had to literally turn my volume up to max because you've got these really haunting vocals and synths going on, which
It's really
sounds
quiet, yeah.
like, honestly, it sounds like nothing when you've just got it at a standard volume. But if you really crank the volume up, it is awesome. So it's worth listening out for.
Right. Right.
So musically, I think this song is absolutely superb. And again, like kind of like Weak and Powerless. And let's go back to the Frost album. There's a real juxtaposition between the lyrical content and the musical content. The music for this is quite upbeat and quite jangly and quite nice, and you can hear it. And then you read the lyrics and you're like, what the fuck? I mean, apparently this was written from personal experience. One of Maynard Keynes' girlfriends was a heroin addict.
Yeah.
All right. And it's written from the folk. It's like someone who's not an addict that sees somebody who has had an overdose that is going blue, but can't accept the fact that the addiction has had that impact. And they're saying, it's a lovely shade of blue. It looks really good on you. Because they're trying to convince themselves that things aren't quite as bad as they are. Which makes it even fucking worse when you think about it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's just, but how you can write that and get it across in a song, you know, if you, John, you hadn't listened to the lyrics, but you heard the music, and you probably wouldn't have twigged that the subject matter was so morbid, which is really clever. But it also means that if you don't pay it, and this is, we talked about this on a number of occasions in various albums, things that you don't get because Mikey and I particularly kind of analyze lyrics and kind of hang on lyrics.
I think the difference is when a lyric, when I can relate to a lyric, it's when it resonates with me.
Yeah.
I can't relate to this.
Yeah. This is a fantastic song.
The single, wasn't it, this?
Yeah, probably my top 3 on the album.
Right. Okay. Wow. Track 5, Craig, is Vanishing.
Yeah, this has got a bit more of a slightly like ethereal feel to it. It's like quite wispy, and I think it fits with the the theme of the song about somebody floating away and vanishing between, before your eyes. It's got some nice, like, jangly guitars in it. I love the bass work and that on it. I mean, it's only like 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes long, but it's not as it's dark subject matter continuing with it, but musically it's not as dark as some of the rest of the album. But You Were Never Really Here. Yeah, just continuing the darkest Feck theme.
Yeah, there's some really, really clever audio effects on this. The sort of waves floating away section is great. Really, really clever. Doesn't really sound like the rest of the record so
No, it
far.
doesn't.
It's really different. Almost progressive in a way, I would say. And probably more interesting for me for that reason. But yeah, more of the same lyrically, but nice. It's a nice change. I think there are a couple of points in the album where it takes, another couple of points where it takes a real left turn, but this is just a change in direction in a nice direction, I think. But Mikey, what do you think of this?
This is another one of my 1-star tracks. It's Greil probably mention it, but the reason why this probably sounds nothing like anything else on the album is because it was actually a lost track from the first album, which got reworked. I'll let Graham go into that one. But I just love the fact that it just goes bang straight into it. And like you said, John, there's some wonderful effects. And the layered vocals are just absolutely beautiful. The drums driving through this with the bass. And like you say, it's leaning towards the progressive. It's not a conventional song structure. You've got changes at the 1-minute mark where you've got this sort of like dream state, opium den kind of thing going on. Then at the 2-minute 40 mark, you've got that change again from the guitar work of the floating away section. And you've got again about 1.5 minutes of outro, and the guitar work is absolutely sublime. My favorite line in the song happens to be nothing about the floating away thing. It says, like a thought brushing up against a sigh. It's just poetry. I just think it's wonderful. I haven't listened to this album enough to sort of like say, oh, that's my standout track. There's a lot of them bubbling around the surface, and this is one of them. I think it's so cleverly written. And I think the fact that it's not as conventional as the last 2 songs that we've had is a nice shift in pace without being too abrasive. It's really good, really good.
Yeah, great.
I think it shows another side of what they can do. And I like the progressive stuff with Kelsey. But I think the reason that it's different is because this is about the high itself. It's about that sort of ethereal, metaphysical bit of being high. So it is from a different perspective. It's not watching somebody being addicted. It's not being addicted. It's being in the happy place. So it's that kind of floaty type of stuff. And again, it's the arrangement. It's the stuff that you mentioned, the sort of the waves, and that's like the joy, the feeling washing over you. It's so well done. Billy Howardell is a genius. I mean, Maynard Keenan, I don't know if it's luck or judgment, but he is surrounded by people who are just able to express the lyrical content musically, and that's really hard to do. And I think the way that it's achieved in this, if you look at the niceness to the anger in the package, you look at the aspects of being dependent in some of the other tracks, and then this, they're all so different. It's really quite a clever way to do it, particularly, and I've said it again, if it's not something you've experienced, to be able to write about something and draw on everybody else's experience and build it together, it's a pretty piece of, it sounds really quaint, but that's not what, you know, I mean, it's a really pretty piece of music. It really is nice. I love it.
Okay. Change of pace again. Track 6 is A Stranger.
I think this feels like a continuation of the last track to a degree. It's more like acoustic based, and it's got some nice like washing over keys with it. I can't quite suss out the lyrics of this one. What am I to do with all this silence? It's Gray, you'll know a bit more about this. I find it an interesting track. I mean, it's only was like just over 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's atmospheric. I say I love the, like you say, the acoustic guitar riff with it, with the washover sounds and stuff of it. Yeah, it's if the music itself, it's a really nice piece of music, even if you take away the lyrics to it. But Shy Away Phantom. Yeah, I need me good song explainer for you.
Yeah, it's an acoustic ballad, but
Yeah.
kind of is underselling it slightly, isn't it?
Yes.
Lots of embellishments, dark lyrics, just for a change. I don't know what else to say about it. Mikey, what do you make of it?
Pretty much the same as what Craig said. I actually really like this one. It's the atmospherics that sold me with this track. The layered strings accompanied with wonderful vocal harmonies yet again.
Yeah, harmonies are good.
And I love the bit where you've got the tearing my will down and the music just stops. You know, it just falls away. Again, there's a section towards the end where there's like sound effects going on in the background, and again, you've just literally got to turn the volume up to 100. They do like messing around with the sonics on this album, and I really appreciate them for it. As to the lyrics, I'm not sure. I think it's somebody who's fighting their addiction but not knowing what to do. Do I run away? Do I fight? Do I tell it to fuck off? I'm better off without you. I don't think it's necessarily a person, although it could be somebody who's trying to fix them. I'm not sure. You know, it could be the guy who's leading the AA group, you know, who's a stranger, or he's listened to somebody else's stories. It's an all-encompassing one, and I think Craig's right. I think it is a little bit of a lead on from the previous track as well. It's nice. It's really nice. It's up there, not quite the highs of what's gone before. But it's a nice short number, and it's a nice palate cleanser, I think.
Okay, great.
I think the highlight for this is definitely the vocal harmonies. I think the way it's done, and the strings. Is it strings? Oh,
Yeah,
synth.
yeah.
It's strings, I think. Yeah. It's a really beautiful ballad. I don't know the aspect about that it's written about. I don't know if it's written from the perspective of the addict talking to somebody who's trying to help them, and saying, "Why should I trust a stranger? You know, what are you to me? What you're stopping me getting what I want. I know your intentions are good, but it's not what I want." Or is it somebody talking to the drug, saying, you know, "You're a stranger, so do I care if you vanish today. It's not the first time that I hear all the lies." But then it's got, "And I listen to the whisper of your sweet insanity." And I can't work out. It's one of the harder things for me, Craig, to work out what this one is about. And I think that's the beauty of the album, is a lot of it is open to interpretation, whether it's somebody talking to themselves, talking to a friend, talking, you know, if you look at the Noose, is it somebody angry at somebody because they're still addicted? Is it somebody angry for somebody who thinks they're no longer addicted? Is it the person angry at other people because they think they've made it and they're not being treated like they have? And there's loads of layers to it. And I love, I mean, you listen to this and it's a really pleasant acoustic with the strings and the arrangement's fantastic, but you still get lyrics like, "Won't you move away from me, you fucking tornado? I'm better off without you, tearing my will down." You know, how do you fit that into something as pleasant as the arrangement that's in there? It's so beautiful. But it's kind of an interlude track, isn't it? What is it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a palate cleanser before the stuff that comes up.
Well, the next track is The Outsider. Craig.
Yes. Now, this is where everybody's going to start rolling their eyes at us. I'm just waiting for it to start.
Sounds like Bananarama. Let me guess. No.
No. And I'm just waiting for Graham to laugh. I watched the video for this single because this was a single. There we go. The boys know. Yeah. It's this song is a bit more what I expected from the album musically. You know, it's got more of a bit of a metal edge to it, and I mean, the video is young girl gets out of prison from a yellow jumpsuit. As soon as she gets out of prison, kisses the prison warden, takes her kit off, and spends the rest of the video in a sexy black bikini with her friends who are also in sexy black bikinis, and they are starting to go and terrorizing a street in like middle America, and it's all sexy girls, big boobs, bikinis, baseball bats, and the people frightened in the houses, and yeah, it's entertaining.
Did you like the script, Craig?
It's very much of its time, shall we say?
Yes, it's very 2003 way of selling a song to a young American male audience, and me. But no, I think the video does not really convey, I think, to what the lyrics are of the song. Not at all.
It's 5 crispy tissues out of 5 for Craig.
Yeah, disconnect and self-destruct one bullet at a time. Yeah, it's what's your rush? Everyone will have your day to die. Is it somebody not quite having a go, but trying to get through as an outsider to the person who's in the situation that they're in, and they don't understand the addiction? It's just a case of pull yourself together, sort yourself out, and get on with it.
Yeah, it's that kind of man up attitude that we no longer support. But yeah.
What that's got to do with sexy girls in bikinis? Yeah, I don't know, but I'll go with it.
Okay, I haven't seen the video.
You'll like it.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. Yeah, I think the standout of this track is the vocal performance for me. The anger that he portrays in this vocal is just brilliant. I mean, the track's got some girth, shall we say? It's got some bottom end, and it kicks. Yeah, it's good. It's really good, this track. Probably one of the highlights of the record for me. This. Yeah, I like this. Mikey.
Well, I'm going to turn everything on its head here. This was just a little bit too American rock for my ears. I was getting the usual massive placebo vibes at the beginning. At the 1 minute 20 mark, when you've got the Medicaid drama queen line, it all suddenly goes very Marilyn Manson. That being said, there are 2 breaks in the song, one at 2 minutes 20 and 1 minute at 3 minutes 15. Both of them are just really short breaks, but one of them's bass and drum led, and the second one is guitar led. They're playing the same kind of theme and melody, but they're played out differently, which I really, really honed in on and liked. At the 3 minute 15 mark, those guitars, like I say, were absolutely phenomenal. And I love the way the song just ends. It is so abrupt and so brash. I do agree with what John said. It has got depth. It's very dense and it's very powerful. That being said, it was just pushing too far into American rock for me, which has never been my bag. But I didn't dislike it either. I can clearly see why it was a single choice for America. But I think you are right. It's very much the theme of somebody who thinks they can fix somebody's addiction the same way they would put a plaster on a scratch. You know, it's not the same thing. You're not going to be able to just man up and get on with your life. You know, it needs proper attention. And I think this person is naive enough to think that it's an easy thing to fix when it's not. Not a favorite, but I do like it.
Great.
So I think I agree about the American rock thing. It's very much a kind of 3 Days Grace, Three Doors Down, alternate rock things, but it's got so much more to it. That, like the breaks, if you look at that break, the first one is at Medicated Drama Queen, that section. How angry does he sound against those guitars? And it's the sheer frustration and fury pointed at somebody that they just don't understand. It's like, just fucking snap yourself out of this. You know, don't be a drama queen. Get on with it. You can fix this. You can do it on your own. It's like, because they simply don't understand what's going on in the head of an addict. The easiest analogy is trying to get somebody, I mean, without going down drugs and alcohol, trying to get somebody to stop smoking. Somebody like, it's easy, just don't do it. You have no fucking clue what it's like. You know what I mean?
Again, I'm still not with you.
Yeah. So as somebody who gave up from medical reasons a long, long time ago, I still wake up and want a cigarette. All right. So I know exactly what that's like. But I love this because of the delivery and because it's so angry. Live, it is mental. It is just so big. The girth is there. You know, it's one thing I do have to say. Live, all 3 iterations of Maynard Keenan's live sort of musical outlets are some of the best sounding live setups I have ever heard in any venue, whether it be a big Norma Dome or a small venue or what have you. There is just something about the production that is off the charts. And I think you can hear the attention that's paid. If you think some of the work that you've heard Josh Freese do with his drums and some of the bass work and what have you, there's a lot of attention to detail. And I think that comes across in the way that Maynard delivers the vocals as well. He doesn't just sing a song, he plays characters. Which I think, you know, people like H does that as well. H embodies things. It's something that draws me to singers. It's something that it draws, because I don't actually call them singers. I call them vocalists, because they perform the songs rather than just sing at you. And he is menacing on stage, and you can hear it here.
Okay. Next turn, left turn now. Track 8 is Crimes, Craig.
This, not necessarily musically, but stylistically, and I think in the theme of it, reminds me a bit of Opium Den from Brave, where you've got it's a rockier version, but I think the theme's there, like a drug-addled psychedelic thing, where all you've got, the lyrics of this is just somebody whispering, counting up to 10. And you know, you got a driving bass, so that you've got heavier drums, but it's got a whole kind of like, you don't, if you're just lying there thinking about it, you just wouldn't know where you were. You're in some kind of spatial realm. You could be just off your tits essentially. And then it's odd, because it's a bit like what Mike was saying with one of the earlier tracks, where it, you know, for the last minute it just fades down, and you've got to turn the volume up to find out, you know, what's actually happening in the room with it. And there's like people talking, there's banging and clapping and things going on, so you'd almost like feel like it's like, is something getting raided? I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit psychedelic,
Kind of an interlude, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
But it's there's an entry on Genius about it that says each song on 13 Step is from a different perspective regarding the life and experience of an addict. The narrator is counting the 12-step process of addiction recovery while getting stuck at step 10. I don't know. I'm just reading it, Gray. I don't know. Mikey, what do you think of this?
I'm going to put that lyrical content to one side because I read the same thing on Genius and I wasn't sure. But that being said, I can see why. I think this is awesome. It's the second shortest track on the album, and I think it's absolutely just outstanding. I really do. The fact that there's like very little lyrical content to it just gives it even more weight. The drums on this, the incessant drumming that drives on the count up to 10 is just absolutely amazing. And the guitar, when it comes in, is nihilistic. It's uncomfortable. It makes you feel there's a sick feeling in your stomach when you listen to it. I just think it's just so beautifully done. And again, at the end, when you turn the volume up, I'm not entirely sure what he says, but it sounds like something about being a fool. I couldn't quite make the lyrics out.
Don't be a fool.
Right, thank you. And what I got from the end, Craig, it was a bit noisy, but I thought it was an AA meeting. I thought it was people scraping chairs and just discussing things at the end of the meeting. I don't know, but it was almost like each of the steps being taken felt like a crime was being dealt to the person who was dealing with the stuff. So that's what I got out of it. Maybe they felt that 10 was the worst bit to get over. I don't know what the 10th step is. They haven't gone that far into it, but I was just so enamored with the content that I couldn't get away from it. I didn't want to know anymore. I was just in the zone with this one. Absolutely adore it. And for a 2-minute 30 song to pack so much punch, I just thought it was genius. Really, really good.
Okay.
Right.
A slightly different take on the content. So one of the steps of the 12-step program is to count your crimes or your sins and pay atone for them. And for me, this song is that person counting their sins, stopping at 10, and the person that they're dealing with is going, yeah, you're lying to yourself here. Don't be a fool. There was more to this. There was more to this. It might be that. The 10th step could also be, where he says stops at the 10th step. So the 10th step is to take a personal inventory, and when we were wrong, admit it. So it kind of aligns with that, I suppose, as well. If they're counting, they stop at that point because they can't admit it. Don't be a fool. So it can be taken one of two ways, I suppose. But it's an incessant track.
Yeah.
It's that it gets under your skin. And like you say, Mikey, to do it in 2 minutes 30 with so little content, it's really clever. But it's just a bridge. At the end of the day, it's kind of an interlude between The Outsider and then The Nurse Who Loved Me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next is The Nurse Who Loved Me, Craig.
On 77, I don't think so.
Just keeping all my secrets safe tonight.
Yeah, wonder what Carly Simon would make of it. Yeah, musically, this is really interesting. I like the complete change of style and direction in this, and I think lyrically, it's just so clever because you're thinking, well, is this him kind of in a hospital after an overdose and the nurse looking after him and he's fallen in love with her, or is it somebody else who's been medicating him? It's
Well, it's a cover. This is a cover.
Yep.
yeah.
By about, is it Failure?
Failure.
Yeah.
Well, I do not know the original.
No, me neither. But also, it's not really the band, is it? All the instrumentation is by John Bryan on this track. and he's
Well,
a multi-instrumentalist.
But musically, it's so different, but it fits because it's continuing the theme, it's continuing the story.
Yeah.
And I like this
This is
interlude.
this is where I thought Kevin Gilbert had stepped into the album, because it sounds very much like a Kevin Gilbert type.
It does, doesn't it?
Detour or Left Turn. It also it brings a little bit of levity to the record.
Yeah.
Which is probably needed.
Probably needed a damn sight before
now.
now.
Maybe a bit sooner than this might have been an idea, but yeah.
I'm waiting for you to say the patented off its baps. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. Mikey.
For a cover version and for it to fit on the album surrounded by everything else, I think has been very, very cleverly chosen. I did actually play the original today. Faithful to a point. The original's got a very more acoustic sounding start and a very hard rock finish, which this their version of it, or whoever's playing on its version of it, is more atmospheric. The strings on this are absolutely beautiful. Just the way the vocals are recorded on this, I think, is absolutely beautiful. I was getting the similar vibe that we got when we did the Hertz album, where there was the track Evelyn, where the guy was in the hospital and he falls in love with a nurse. The person he's falling in love with is the person who's like trying to fix him, kind of thing. I was kind of getting that vibe, but there was also the she's got everything I need, some pills in a cup. She's falling hard for me. I can see it in her eyes. She acts like a nurse with all the other guys. So he doesn't see her as a nurse, even though she probably is. She's going. I was thinking, I mean, I've got a chemist at the end of my street, and I don't want to be judging, but there's a bunch of characters usually hanging around outside, getting handed little cups, and they're getting methadone, and it's a tragic situation, and it's like you can never quite imagine what it's like to be in that position, and do these people literally worship the people that are handing them these little cups with liquid or pills in to, fix their needs? I just think it's so strange, like I said, that a cover version blends in so well with the rest of the album. The last chorus, you've got some spoken vocals going on over sung vocals, and then the two come together with harmonies. Absolutely beautiful. And what I really liked about it was there's some whistling going on towards the end. It's like almost like happy-go-lucky kind of like, oh, I'm in a happy place kind of whistles. This very nearly vied for my favorite track on the album, which is an awful thing to say when it's a cover version, but I just think it's beautiful. I think it's seriously beautiful and much needed at this point on the album.
Okay, great.
It's kind of a funny album. There's a levity to it. It's that which. I mean, I didn't know for a long time that it was a cover. I just assumed it was part and parcel of of the album that was written. It was only a few years ago I realized it was a cover. When I bought the vinyl. And I saw the writing credits, and it's just a bit. It's really nice. I love the arrangement to it. I don't know if it's all John Bryan, but I know he does the instrumentation on it, and you've got that the string part that goes in it and all that bits and bobs, and that kind of the whistling at the with it's on it and stuff, which is
glad you said that, because the mic didn't pick anything up.
Kind of eerie. It's kind of eerie the way it works, but it's again. It's another aspect of what they can do, and you can hear. I mean, I think that I went to see the band Clone, French band, a couple of years ago with a friend, who said, "I've never heard anybody with control of their voice the way that guy
Yeah.
sang. And I was like, yeah, right. I said, there's somebody else I know who can do it, but I'm trying to remember who. I don't know why I didn't think of Maynard Keenan straight away, but it's him. It's the fact that he can do so many different things. He can perform in so many different ways. He's got that plaintive sort of lullaby voice. He's got the normal lyrical voice. He's got the kind of monster type, horror type. He never does the I call them Cookie Monster vocals. He never does that kind of the growling stuff, as far as I'm aware.
That
But
would
he's
be
just
it.
got
That would
so-
be it for me if he did.
I can't stand them. I hate them.
No, me neither. Me
It's
neither.
just something I can't relate to. But I love the fact that he has the ability to play so many characters with one instrument.
Yep.
It's just a nice song. And I think something that a lot of people would relate to, thinking that somebody is dealing with them differently to everybody else because they're special, or they believe they're special.
Track 10, Craig Man Pet Man Pet is
Why
Pet.
you bugger? Not quite half feed as in pet, but
No,
you know.
it's not, is it? No.
This, if we're going down the prog analogy route, if this was this is a, for all intents and purposes, a concept album, and if you mirror this to the wall, this is the track that mirrors Mother from the Wall in respect of the lyrical theme. Lay your head down, child. It's got all the things, I will take care of you. Yes, you've got like the war stuff in it, but it's almost it's just got the parallels to Mother in my eyes, and not necessarily in my ears, but in my eyes to
So
this.
it doesn't sound like it, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Doesn't sound like it, but it's the I'll keep the boogeyman away. I'll protect you from all life's harms and stuff. To a American, bit more of a slightly metal sound. This one's got a bit more crunching guitars, and it's got a bit more menace to it, whereas the last tracks were a lot mellower. But no, I like this because I like the theme of it. I like the word imagery in it, and I said, and Mother's one of my favorite songs from the Wall, so it gets a free pass.
I think this is probably my favorite track on the album. It does sound like very Porcupine Tree to me. This
Yeah, I get it.
very Stephen Wilson with a little bit more bite. Maybe when it gets crunchy, it's really crunchy, which I don't think they do aside from maybe Anesthetize. But this is really good, and it kind of rises and falls as well. It's not all on one level, this track, which is always a bonus for me. Yeah, this is my favorite track on the record. Mikey.
These last three tracks for me are, I perceive to be a 3-song suite, and I cannot separate the three at all. So I'm going to give these next 3 tracks a 3-star rating, top-notch stuff. Best part of the album for me. And what's really strange is I mentioned like one of the previous tracks being a little bit too heavy for my ears, and this one should be following that. But that being said, I quite like 9 Inch Nails, and this one sounds the most 9 Inch Nails to me. And I love the fact that it just has that big crashing intro and it drops away at the 30 seconds mark. And like you said, John, it's got lots of ups and downs. Texturally, it's wonderful. If you could just park the crunchiness, texturally, it's just absolutely phenomenal. I think everybody's given 100% on this. I really do. Lyrically, Craig, I believe this is coming from the point of view of the drug, and I think it's far more insidious than what you were saying. Far more insidious. I will be the one to protect you from your enemies and all your demons. Fine. I will be the one to protect you from a will to survive and a voice of reason. It's good to protect you from everything good and bad. So for all the ills of the world.
Same with the lyrics in Mother. Yeah.
It's just I was just like, it's that I'm going to get you no matter what. No matter what you think you need protecting from, you're going to be so numb, you're not going to be able to fight against it. And I just think it's so clever. And like I say, part of a 3-song suite for me. They all go hand in hand. Absolutely amazing stuff.
Great.
I'm going to counter Craig's mother with Trust in Me from Jungle Book. And it is that
I'll do the hypnotic eyes if you want.
Yeah, it is that insidious. It's the drug speaking to the person, saying, "Don't worry about all that. I'll look after you. The good stuff, all the bad, just let it all go away. I'll take it." And it's the I think in my head, the angry bit of music is the person trying to fight the addiction, trying to fight the drug. And then because all the kind of the bit, is pay no mind what the other voices say. They don't care about you like I do. Like that's all really nice, and it's like it's almost as if the drug is it's in the blood system. It's convincing the person that everything's okay. It's like, don't worry about that. Ignore the nasty man. Ignore the fact that you don't think you want the drug. I'm here. I'm going to look after you. And it's really insidious. I am going to mention, I sent a link to Mikey during the week. So the album after this was a covers album. And they actually cover this themselves. But they do it. So I think, Craig, you mentioned the war aspect of this, counting bodies like sheep and all that kind of stuff. The cover version that they've done is called Counting Bodies Like Sheep. And it's written from the perspective of a political leader telling its people, don't worry, we'll keep you safe. Don't worry, we'll look after you. And one of them is, so this one on the album about addiction is about the drug looking after you. And the other one, so Emotive is it's a peace album. Every song on it is about peace, humanity, people living together. Really clever album. And this cover, because I was really confused when I first heard it, because I was like, that's Pet. But when you listen to the way it's done, one of them's kind of really industrial and heavy. So you think this is heavyweight to hear the other one. Brilliantly done. Like Mikey, I think the last section of this is one thing in my head. And it's either Noose or this is my favorite.
Okay.
Day-to-day.
Well, track 11 or section 2 of the end, if you're listening to the other guys, is Lullaby, Craig.
Yeah, the whispering, go back to sleep. With a voice like that, with the drum beat and with the girl's vocal. Fuck her, man. Jesus. What? It's a haunting beat. The vocal melody that the girl sings and the whispering, if go back to sleep. Oh, it's haunting.
She does just sing Lullaby though, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Is it just Lullaby? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But like a do 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 like that way with the lyric. Yeah, it's just
Not saying lullaby though, is she?
Is she not?
No.
She says Lullaby.
No.
But anywho, yeah, another one of those skin crawl tracks.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm sorry, it's a bit of an interlude for me. This
It is an interlude.
Yeah, it's not essential. Sorry, Mikey, talk it back up because I know you like it.
Oh, it's awesome. It really is. Yes, it's an interlude, but it hinges these two songs together. You've got this drug that's basically said, "I'm going to protect you," and you've got this sort of like dissident feel to it, which is in some drug adult states, the thing that you need most to do is to sleep, and you'll have this semi-conscious awakening into sleep thing going on where you just can't sleep, and that's the drug kind of saying, you know, just go to sleep, just go to sleep. It's not going to happen, and that's the frightening part of it. No matter what lullaby's playing or what you're being told to do, it will never come, and that's the thing that really jolted with me. The distortion and the effects on the vocals on the go back to sleep lines are just amazing. It's not the same every time. It either gets more insidious or it gets more relaxed in its delivery. And it is Jabo singing, isn't it, Graham? I mean, it is almost like scat level, but it is so haunting. It's that sort of like insidious nursery rhyme kind of feeling to it. It makes my skin itch. I'm scratching my arms as I'm sat here. I think it's the perfect order to the previous song and necessary for the meaning for the final song. It's just brilliant. I think it's wonderful.
Great.
Sometimes it's really fucking difficult to follow him.
Told you that before I started recording.
Because it's a throwaway track if you listen to it in its isolation. It's Go Back to Sleep with some nice instrumentation and the woman singing underneath it, and you don't think anything of it if you listen to it. The first time I heard it, I thought it was the coda of Pet. I didn't think it was a separate track. I thought it was part. So that's why I think for me this is hot. Now that I know the album, for me these three tracks are one thing, because it is that the drug is in charge, or the drug has been in charge, and you're trying to wake up, and the drug's going, no, don't. I'm still here. I'm still in charge. I still want to be. I'm the one. But you're not there. You're not going to do that. And the dissonance is that. I think the dissonance in the female vocals is that kind of conflict in the head. You're hearing something, you're not hearing what you want to hear. You're trying to make sense of stuff, and you haven't been able to, and which leads on to Gravity. Which leads on to the last track, and I don't think maybe it's there. Maybe they split it. Maybe it was a coda, and they thought we need a 12th track. We've only got 11. It's a 12-step program. Let's break it out and make the coda a 12th track. I don't know. But I don't think the album would work without this bit between those two tracks.
Okay. Craig, last track of the album, Gravity.
So he's reached rock bottom, surrendering to the gravity and the unknown. Lift me up. I feel this song should be more cathartic than what it actually is, considering everything we've been through, the highs and lows and lows and lows and lows of the album. I'm not saying it's an anti-climax, because I think it's being realistic. It's not being bombastic. It's not being pompous. It's not being it's not being what we would expect and anticipate. It's not the Great Escape going into Made Again. It's not Comfortably Numb. It's not these cathartic end of albums where you've gone through the mill and you've got some fucking cracking guitar solos and everybody's punching the air at the end and everything. This isn't it. This is just downbeat. I choose to live. I'm here. I've survived it. Potentially, either that or it could be Jacob's Ladder and the whole thing's been his last spiraling down the drain. I choose to believe that he chose to live, and I choose to believe that it's a new beginning. But me being of a certain age and I like me music a certain way, I wanted the big ending, the big flashy ending, but I didn't get it. But I get why it didn't, because I think if it had done it,
It doesn't fit the
would it have
story,
been-
does it? If you give it a big end, I suppose. Yeah.
But we love a big end.
For me too, I'm the same. It's not the big payoff that all of this hour should lead up to. I mean, it's at times it sounds like a band that I really love, which is Riverside. There's a real sort of
Oh, yeah.
Riverside feel to the
Good
second
point.
part of it. And there's a great riff. About 3:45, there's a really good riff that lasts about 15, 20 seconds. Brilliant. But there's not the payoff for me. I agree with Craig. We've just done 55 minutes. This track should lead to something else, and it doesn't. Sorry, boys. Mikey, tell me you love this.
I love this.
Oh, you might say that.
Right, let's clear now.
Oh, Craig and John have left. If there was ever a time where I could say, if the Cure were based in America, this is what they would sound like, then this is the track. I think in places it's haunting, especially the early choruses. He sings it with almost like a sleazy sort of like glide into the words when he does that unable to stand on my own, tail in hand, dizzy. He says the words in such a way that it almost sounds like it's reverse vocals, it's like that. It's so cleverly put across. I mean, I'm not going to try and sing it for you, but it is really.
I think you'll find.
The inflections during the chorus are just really, really clever. At the 2-minute 50 mark, you've got some absolutely screaming guitars with this amazing bass work behind it. Fucking phenomenal. And that bit that you mentioned, John, that bass riff and the guitar riff at like the 3-minute 30 mark, you got that and you got the drums going
really, really interesting.
over the top. It is, but this is I think the payoff for me is the ending. That I choose to live. It is hopeful. But you've got to be realistic about it.
And this is. Put some more exciting music behind it.
But this is addictive hope. It's like Graham says. Like even slight addictions, whether it be collecting records, smoking, drinking, pills, crap, whatever it may be, even sex, I suppose, to some people, like to just stop, it's not going to happen. So you've got to have that dark and light at the same time, and you don't always have to have a happy ending. You don't always have to have, a behind the wall moment at the end. It's
a downbeat ending is fine, but this is kind of it's not downbeat. It's neither up nor down. It's just level.
But to me, it could go straight back to track one. It's like the steps of addiction. If you fail at the last hurdle, then very often you've just got to repeat the process. But there is that sense of hope there. The last line, "I choose to live," after being repeated so many times, is the last thing you hear. There's nothing else to the song. There's like a bit of acoustic hangover in the background, but that's it. I just think the 3 tracks at the end just play out beautifully. There's so much of this album that I didn't think would work for my ears. And I must admit, on the first playthrough, I was a bit, whoa. When I sent to Graham maybe 2 tracks that was standing out. By the time third playthrough came through, like out of the 12 tracks to kind of only dislike 1, I think, given the genre that it is, surprises myself. It really does. But no, I think it is what it is, and it needs to be what it is.
Right?
There is no payoff. You're never a recovered alcoholic. You're never a recovered addict. You are always an addict or an alcoholic. You are always hanging on by a thread. You are always one drink away from being back at the beginning, one pill away from being back at the beginning. That's why there is no payoff. And that's really fucking dark. I mean, I'm sorry. And I get the understanding, I like a payoff at the end of an album. I like a big happy song. There is no fucking happy ending to this.
Hey, Brave has an uplifting ending. and she dies. One version of it, but she dies.
Yeah, Maynard's not H.
No, no.
And it's so clever, and it's really interesting. I hadn't really thought about either The Cure or U2 as at the Edge as any kind of reference point for any of this material. The second Mikey and I have been talking about this all week. The second Mikey was going Cure, Placebo, New Order, I was like, yep, get all of them. I hadn't heard The Cure before, but now totally get it. And when he said if it was American, if The Cure had been brought up in America, this is what they'd sound like. I'm like, yes, totally get that. And when you said The Edge today, I'm like, why the fuck have I never heard that before? And there's bits in this. So the break that you talk with the bass line and what have you sounds like something that could have come off Boy or October.
Yeah, yeah.
It's got that bass hook that the Edge plays around on top of. To me, that's what, and I hadn't thought of that before.
I mean, the weird thing is this last track, although I'm saying it doesn't do what I need it to do, it does sound exactly like Riverside at times.
Yeah.
I love Riverside, but they wouldn't finish an album with that.
No. So it's interesting because I think the payoff for you, if Weak and Powerless had been at the end, that would have been some kind of, ignore the lyrical content, it would have been some kind of audible payoff because it's kind of, there's something to it.
Yeah.
But it's not the way the album's written. I love the arrangement on this. I love his vocals on this. I think, I hadn't really heard enough of Tool I like Tool, but I like Tool because of the way the music's written. Between the guitarist and the bass, the guitarist and the drummer and Tool, the kind of rhythmic into play between the two and the repetitiveness of what have you. It's hypnotic for me. But the way that Maynard sings with Tool is very, very different. When I hear this album, some of it's almost euphoric the way he sings. It fits in with the addiction aspect of it stuff. And I keep on going about all the different characters he plays. And this one's really interesting, this song, because it's really well sung, it's really well performed. But Mikey was talking about the enunciation. It's almost as if it's reversed. To me, he sings like he's tired. He sings as if I am exhausted. I'm not dead. I'm still here, but I am done. And I think that's a great way to finish the album. It's like, I've made a choice. I am still here. I'm not giving up, but there's nothing left. And I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. The three tracks together, I can quite often not notice any segue between these three tracks. To me, it just plays as one piece of music. And I think this, Pet, The Noose, are just stunning pieces of music for me. And they are the top three. There's one or two that push them a little bit, but yeah.
Is there not a bonus track you wanted to talk about as well?
So I don't own a copy with the bonus track.
Right. What version is it on?
Japanese? Is it the Japanese version?
It's the Japanese edition, yeah.
Yeah, the Japanese
What's
version.
the track called?
It's the package. It's the extended version
Oh,
of
it's
the package.
just that.
It's just an extended version of the package, yeah.
Sorry, I thought there was another song you wanted to say.
So,
Okay. And then you won't have seen them around the time of this album?
no, I didn't see them around the time.
Oh.
No, I haven't. I've seen footage
Yeah.
from around the time. And luckily, when I saw them last week, it was this band that played. So the original members of the band are together. So it is Josh Freese and Billy Howardell and all, so it was really, really good to see that band play these songs.
Yeah.
And the songs from Murder Norm and Emotive as well.
Yeah. Is there any relevance to the sleeve with the woman with the chili on her face?
So she's from the video. It's not as chilly. It's not a chili, would you believe?
What is it?
It's a slug.
It's a slug. Oh, it looks like a chili on my.
It's a slug, and basically she is the girl from the video,
Right.
Week in Powerless video, which is horrific. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the videos are even darker than the lyrics. It's like, I do have the vinyl, which is a glorious double vinyl, really, really nice, absolutely beautiful. But they've just announced remastered editions, and I'm trying to say no, because I do
By
have.
the time you hear this, listeners will have ordered it. Someone should make a record about that.
They should do, yeah. They should do. I'm gonna. Have any of you looked up at why it's called the 13th Step?
No.
So there's a lot of theories about it. One of the theories is that 13th Step is acceptance. You know, it's the final part of thing. However, if you listen to a lot of the people, the 13th is actually really quite dark, because there's a theory that the 13th step of the 12 steps in AA is, once you are a recovered alcoholic but you still go to your meetings, you take an addict under your wing and take advantage of that addict. And there's a lot of people say that that's why he's called it that, because it's the insidiousness of some of the lyrics and the way, you know, it abuses people, and that's why he's called it 13th Step, because it's accepted that some addicts who have gone through the 12-step program and not fallen back use that as a tool to take advantage of others.
I was going to throw another theory into the mix, and I didn't know if it was going to be far too dark. My first thought of the 13th step was death.
Yep.
Because I thought it's like the only step where addiction is completely gone from your life.
That's one of the fan theories as well. Yeah, I mean, if you go on to things like Reddit and start reading about these, it's a lot of the fans of Maynard Keenan's are kind of obsessive. I don't know why. I've no idea why I like them. But yeah, there's people that have done breakdowns of so much, and there's loads of different fan theories about it. I mean, the production of it is superb. I don't know what you guys think of it, sound wise. I mean, I think all of his stuff is just phenomenal.
It didn't particularly strike me as amazing, if I'm honest. It has that, when it's powerful, it has that widescreen feel to it. But that's no different to what Mr. Wilson does. I don't think.
Yeah,
it's good, but it's not, particularly better than anything else.
But the thing is, Mr. Wilson's particularly good at what he does as well, isn't he?
He is, yeah. So I suppose I'm a bit spoiled in that respect.
Yeah.
What was around at the time this album came out, Mikey, in 2003?
A lot of rubbish.
Okay.
Amazingly, well, I'm not going to say amazingly. Compared to how badly Frost did, I'm surprised this album got to 37 in the UK charts. Quite a good following. So the week it was released, it was the 8th highest new entry on the chart. I think 5 of those entries were actually landed in the top 10. So at number 10 was Norah Jones with Come Away With Me. At number 9, Black Eyed Peas with Elephunk. New entry at number 8 was Pure by Hayley Westerner. At number 7, Daniel Bedingfield with Got to Get Through This. Another new entry at 6 is DMX with Grand Champ. At number 5, Sean Paul with Duty Rock. At number 4, another new entry was Seal with his Seal 4. At number 3, another new entry was David Bowie and his Reality album.
Oh, yeah.
At number 2 was yet another new entry from a band that was mentioned earlier in the pod by Craig, Star Sailor with Silence Is Easy. And at number
Going to see them in October.
When I say he didn't say it on the pod, he thought he was going to see him in October. Yeah.
Yes, going to see them in October. In fact, Silence Is Easy might be an interesting album to do, or we'll see.
What on the list?
See. So yeah, at number 1 was Darkness with Permission to Land.
Yes.
So I'm going to give a different perspective on that. So if we look at, so the album was produced by Andy Wallace, right? Andy Wallace has gone on to do Ghost and loads of other bands. But if you look 2002 to 2004, we've talked about the American sound and the big American sound and the American single style and what have you. So Andy Wallace, between 2002 to 2004, produced System of a Down, Korn, Disturbed, Stained, Linkin Park, Blink-182, Sum 41, and Rise Against. So that kind of American rock, alternative metal style was in the DNA of the album. If you look at what he did, what Tool were doing at the time, what Josh Freese was drumming on at the time, the kind of work that he was doing, the album, it's amazing that the album actually has an identity of its own. Yes, it has bits that sound very much like what the American rock should sound like, but there's so much of it that they've managed to veer away from that and put the different sounds in. So yeah,
I mean, production wise, for me, I love all of the studio overdubs. I love the way the vocals were recorded. I agree with John, it's not a fantastic production, but it works for what it
for what it
is.
Yeah.
I can still hear all the musicians very clearly. I'm not struggling to hear the bass. I'm not struggling to hear, riffs and things going on. It's all there. It's all present. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't dislike the production at all. I thought it was top notch, but it's not,
We have listened to some
outstanding,
well-produced albums over the last few months, haven't we?
We have, I
Well,
know,
that's it.
but I look again, just to back up what Grace's saying though, that it's the noose, isn't it? That sounds like
Yeah.
goes from that demo feel to that. I mean, that in itself just shows what the production is like to be able to create those two kind of
Yeah, amazing.
different
I love
studio
that.
effect. It's good. It's good, but we are a bit spoiled, I have to say, yes. Let's wrap this up then. Final thoughts on this record, Craig.
Not what I was expecting, but I have enjoyed it, and I'll be returning to it, but I'll need to listen to something happy now.
Okay. Yeah, there's interesting things on this record for me. I won't be rushing back to it, if I'm honest. That's not a surprise to guys on here. Paul Gray's crestfallen there. It's great. It's just not my normal type of thing to listen to. And there are 3 or 4 tracks on it that are absolutely outstanding. It's worth having a listen to. Definitely dive in if you've not heard it before, or if you love it, come and join the discussion in the Planet Music Facebook group and tell us what you think of it. Mikey, what are your final thoughts on this?
This genre of music really isn't my bag, and I said as much to Graham in chat with him. But I got it. It takes a good few listens. Don't expect to be able to play this album and walk away humming any tunes. It's not that sort of album. It needs to be played in its entirety, and I definitely will be going back to it. And the band's got other stuff to offer that I've already started digging. It's worth a listen. Go for it.
Okay, great.
So there's a couple of reasons I chose it. Firstly, no need to be. I'm not crestfallen that it's not your thing, because I didn't think it was your thing when I recommended it. To be honest with you, that's kind of why I did, because it's a challenging listen, and it's nice to hear. It's very easy to say to people, "Here's something that I think you'll like," when you know that it's something up their street. It's different when you give an album that means something to you to somebody who won't necessarily like it, but should see what they take from it. So that's been interesting to hear, especially from you and Craig. My favorite album of theirs is actually the covers album. I think it's stunning. But of original material, this is my favorite of their albums. The first album, Murder Norm, is stunning. There's some There's some amazing tracks on it. But there's just something about this one, whether it's the darkness or seeing bits of it in experiences, or the fact that it's the first album I heard of theirs, and it has that place, it's got that memory link. I don't know, but for me, this is the studio album that I prefer. I'm glad you've all listened to it. I'm glad you've taken something away from it. And it's not what, I mean, I'm glad it challenged you and it's not what you expected. If you like Tool, this is very different. If you've not listened to them, give it a shot. Although most people who like Tool will have listened to it. If you don't like Tool, try it, because it's sufficiently different from Tool that it might be something that you like. My brother and I are, we're going to see Puscifer again in October. I think October in Glasgow. We've seen all three of the bands, and it still amazes me. He has 3 different characters on stage, 3 different complete ways of performing and delivery. He sings differently, and the content and everything is different. But I think A Perfect Circle is my favorite of the 3, although Puscifer is the most fun. Tool's a hard slog at times, and I'm just glad you took something away from it.
Well, thank you for suggesting it. Another great suggestion. As I say, if you've enjoyed this, please give the record a listen. Please like and subscribe for the podcast. It just helps get us out there to more people. And come and join the discussion at the Planet Music Facebook group as well. I'd just like to thank Mikey K.
Thanks very much, everyone. And Graham, top choice. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you, Graham Tennick.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you, matey. Thank you, Craig Houston.
Why, thank you. Oh, Pepper's decided now, since we stopped recording, she's been here for the last 2 hours. She's had enough. Right? That's
She's
it.
had a moment,
She's done. She's had a moment.
Yeah. All that remains to be said is good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Take care.
Go on, Gray, since it was your choice.
Stay alive.
Yay!
Choose to live.
Thanks for listening
to Planet Music from the makers of Planet Marzipan.
If you like what you've heard, please like and subscribe, and maybe even join our Facebook discussion group.
You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com.